Google, because that's what we were asked to do. We all have used Google tools for quite a while, and we're specifically tying them to 21st century learning. Sometimes we talk about the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, because things are shifting on what we expect kids to be able to do, and how we teach has been shifting as well. So how many of you are teaching the same way you were 5 years ago? How many have been teaching longer than 5 years? Okay, so I know there's some things changing. They're changing here, they're changing everywhere. I created a little tiny URL so you could quickly get to some of our links, and I'm going to show a quick video as well, just to kind of set the stage for what our vision of the future is and kind of how that ties in with yours. So one of the tools I'm going to use is Google Draw, and I'm going to look at creativity, and Seth's going to take you in another room and do some hands-on activities over there. So this part we're doing is very, very short, but I did want to share just a couple of things about why we're here today. We really want to help you change things in your classroom and give you some tools to do that. So that's why we're here. We'd like to deepen your understanding of the 4 C's. You can get to this PowerPoint if you forget what they are or some details here, and we're not going to have time to watch all the little videos, so more resources here for later. We're going to be exploring Google Apps. That would be things like Google Docs, spreadsheets. I specifically asked for forms for high school, and I know that Angie Sheets is going to talk about forms, but formative assessment is very important in adjusting what we do in our classrooms with kids, and they now have a way in forms that you can just immediately see how kids are responding. So make sure if you go to that session, or if you don't go to her session, to kind of see what's changed with Google Forms, because it's a powerful learning tool. We want to help you begin planning 21C learning opportunities for your own students. So I have this little video clip, and it came from Iowa Public TV, the NOVA series. It's about 2 hours long. We're going to watch like 2 minutes. But just be thinking about how things are changing, and you're going to see some famous people in here. There's one famous that I know of for sure that kind of has their perspective of what the future is going to look like.
And hopefully human beings, no matter where you live.
Schools need well-presented communities, and that students have to feel that they belong not only in that community, but that they belong in society, that they're going to be major contributors to society. That's what a school of the future has to do.
The school of the future will engage young people and always refine itself to meet them where they are and get them to where they need to be in order to have a successful life and fulfill their dreams. The school of the future must address the impact of adversity on children's development.
The school of the future must recognize that human beings want to learn. And if you give them an environment where it's safe to fail, safe to learn, safe to collaborate, you find joy in it.
The school of the future will be more individualized and more experimental for all of the people in it as they learn to innovate together.
The school of the future must be able to meet every kid where they're at and give them what they need to be successful.
The school of the future must continually innovate and iterate.
It has to be less about the business of school and more about the relationship with the child.
And become something that is much more interwoven with people's real lives.
It's going to need to be attentive to the whole child.
The school of the future will extend far beyond the 4 walls of the classroom.
It's going to be mixed age. It's going to have students learning at their own pace. I think the school of the future is going to be a happy place.
I think I will bring this up very quickly. when I've been working with the elementary teachers in Ottumwa, we did a day kind of like this at the AEA. And instead of focusing on Google, because not all kids have Google accounts, we focused on some different tools. But one thing we did talk about, and I'd like to share that with you, is this idea about pull it down here where you can see it. Mindset. This is a quick little story, and there is a video, but I actually like the cartoon better, that just talks about mindset. How many of you as a staff have looked at or read about mindset? Fixed mindset, growth mindset. All right, I don't have to sell you on it, hopefully. The only point I want to make is, even coming in here today, how we approach things makes a difference. How kids approach things make a difference. We don't want kids to always be passive. So when we do walkthroughs in schools, we're looking for things where kids are engaged, they're creating things, they're making things. They're contributing to society. They're not just consumers. Not just consumers of information, not just consumers of products, but they're creating, they're building. So the activities we're going to do today hopefully will help you and your students start thinking about how can we focus on these skills that help them become more active in their own learning. So I'm not going to go through the jungle tigers here, but the basic premises behind this is, if we stay in the zoo, in our comfort level, and we don't try something new, then we're not going to have those skills when we need them in the jungle or the real world. So that's kind of the basics behind our fixed and growth mindset. There's actually another growth mindset we talk about. Jane, remind me what it's called? In mindset, we also have innovator. Innovator's mindset goes even a step further, where I'm not just learning and growing, I'm creating things myself. So you can get pretty deep into that. We are going to be breaking out in some sessions, and this is going to be the link to mine. Below this link, if you want to look at this slideshow later, I have a little video about the 4 C's, so if you just kind of want to review what they are. There's some sample lessons. And this list of questions is what we use when classrooms come to our 21st century classroom at the AEA. So we have a room where all the walls are writable, the furniture moves. That's not exactly this environment here, but it's not just about the room, it's also about what you do in the room. So today we're going to model how you can be mobile and flexible. You're going to have displays, instead of mounted on the wall, you're going to be using your own computers. But we're going to be doing things collaboratively. We're going to be doing all those 4 C's. So if you want to just take a look at what we do to plan to get ready, there's our list. And then last week, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we had an outside presenter come in that was awesome. I had a few teachers tell me it's the best PD they ever went to. So I put her slide in here. We real quickly generated lessons based on a strategy of kids moving around in the room. So they were doing like station types approach or rotations. And this is the format she used for about 40 people to generate lessons real quickly. So you might think about how in your classroom you can tie in the resources you have beyond the wall. So she called hers blended learning, and some of the resources were online. Some of them she worked or targeted kids in small groups. I'm seeing that more and more in elementary, and there's no reason why high school can't do it as well, but there's some learning kids can do independent. There's some learning that I can do targeted with smaller groups. So that's a good model to take a look at. I think we're ready to break up into sessions. I want to keep this part short. I'm going to keep maybe the front half because they're up here.
So if I can have everybody that's back here and you two follow me over into this room, that'd be great. Yes, take your computers.
And Jane, you're going to help me. You look like you're headed in there. All right, I thought about modeling in this group the rotations, but we really don't have to move around to kind of shift what we're doing. So what I have is a resource link. I also put this on as a tiny URL for Google Drawing. It's a little slow loading because I put active links on each one of these. Does this look like another program anyone's used? Does it look familiar? Have you heard of something called Padlet? Have you used Padlet? Anyone use Padlet in here? Okay, some of the things I'm going to do today, I could do with other tools, but they asked me to focus on Google, so I'm using Google. But personally, there's a program I love called Padlet that's set up real easily, and for elementary, the kids don't even need a Google account. They can just post notes to each other. So if they were collecting ideas or brainstorming for a project, they could go to Padlet and they could share their ideas by posting them on a board like this. So bottom line, Google Draw allows me to collaborate a little bit different than Google Docs because now I have drawing and I have objects that I can move around. How many of you personally use Google Drawing now? Okay, it's my go-to for short printed things. So I don't know if anyone's here as old as me, but anyone remember something like Print Shop where we just like printed pictures and words together? All right, you get the general idea. That is one of the things this can do. Maybe not the most creative, but I can easily put pictures and words together. What's interesting about Google Draw is they've forgotten what paper is. So there's no intention to print to paper. I did, so I can show you can. And this is a task card. My goal is not to stand up here and talk at you, but have you doing activities. So one of the things I have for you is today's challenge, the creativity task card. I left off one piece of instruction, and I'll come around and kind of help you with it. But if you want to share what you create with other people, do you know how to share things with others in Google? It's just like that. If you're sharing it with your team, email's great because everyone can edit. So you share with the edit. If I want everyone to see it but not change it, what would I do? Thank you. I would share anyone with a link, view only. I forgot to put that little step on here. So if you want to look at what other people do all day long, you'll have to share it with view rights. Okay, so I'll go in and add it to my electronic version. I just printed it so I could show you what it looks like printed out. So the secret, if you want paper, is you go into the settings and you say 8.5 by 11, because we all know how big paper is. We didn't forget. But it's set up for screens. So like screen size. Can't remember the numbers now, but like 16 by 4 or something. So that's one of the things we'll do. The rest of the day, or our session, is going to be exploring these. Every single one of these is a clickable link. So if I know nothing about Google Draw, I might go up here to this 101 overview. And this one's text. It's just going to show me examples of things I could do with kids. So here's a creativity tool. If you're writing a story or creating something new and looking at those connections, a flow chart or a mind map is one way to do it. So that's one of the things you can do with Google Draw. I can label things, make a timeline. So that's one way I could use Google Draw with kids. But each one of these I click on will give me more information. Now I'll give you a hint. One of these, interactive posters and maps, is kind of what I did here. It's a little more advanced, but I took and put an imaginary box around that, and then when I click on it, it goes somewhere. Could I do that with a map? Yes. Could I do that with my team members so you could each get introduced to them? That's actually the example here they show, is they make a clickable link to whatever you want it to go to. Could your kids create these projects? Yes. This one's kind of cool. Put this one here for you, Jane. Did you click on this one? I figured you'd zoom in on that one. So if you haven't looked at it yet, that'd be a good one to look at as some sample kids projects that they choose what they're going to create. All right, here's the part I don't know what to do next. If you've never used Google Draw and you just want to jump in and get your feet wet, I'd go straight for the task. And I have some printed copies. If you might leave them here because I didn't print a ton, but I have printed copies if you want to look at it. But it's also right here. And my intent was to do that in kind of groups, but it was a challenge just to use the tool to create something.
We don't have this. Review with us how to get it.
Oh, okay. Technically,
And we don't have this.
at the beginning of the day, I assumed everybody saw it. So it's right here. This is the link.
It did take me 5 minutes. This is my last slide.
Okay, it's up further. So I knew we wouldn't have time to do these, so right before the 4 C's is the link to where we broke out. So the rest is this is just kind of extra to look at on your own time. So that link would take you there. I also have a tiny URL just to go straight there, but this should work. So we're right here on this page and click on Google Drawing Exploration. Do any of you want the printed copy just to look at? can work with a partner if you like. You don't have to. Yep. Google Drawing.
Because
That's our focus. We're going to be using Google Drawings for our project. I'm running out of paper copies, but it looks like you got plenty of desktops. On the slides, there's one that links you to the one I'm doing today.
Okay.
So write that one.
All right. Okay. What number is it?
That's 5. Yeah, I also have a tiny URL to go straight to it. I think it's
This here?
OHS. That one.
This one?
Yep. There you go. I brought a few headphones, so if they're audio, you're welcome to move around in the room. If you want to just kind of listen to it or just keep the volume kind of low. I did bring a few earbuds if you want to use them. So right above that one. Yeah. And I have a link straight to it, but this will work.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to get you the exploration link.
Did you get the... Okay. I did
Did you send
a
it
link
to
straight
everybody?
to it. No, I put it up there on the PowerPoint. I can't figure out how. I don't know why it's doing it. I think it's plugged into power down there.
Switch it at 45.
Okay, good. Thank you. So can you type that in at Google, tinyurl.com, Atoma Google 21C. And I have a link go straight to the page, but I've forgotten what it is. I'm going to have to look it up. I made it last night and I forgot it. It's easy. It's like OHS. I don't know. Google Draw or something. I don't remember. I'll look up the link and make it easier for the next group. Yeah, I must mistype it. Oh, they might be blocking tinyurl. I bet it is. Is this your own computer or is it a
It's a school computer.
Okay. I think they're blocking tiny URLs on this one. Yeah, so I need to figure out a way to share it. Should I just email it to her?
Draw one?
I need to put the link to this on this document
Yeah.
because no one can get there.
Which one do I go to? Tiny URL.
Well, I'm wanting to go to this PowerPoint and then go to it. So if you can go to Atoma Google 21C. I have a tiny URL to it, I just don't remember it. I got to remember what it is. Yes, to the drawing. But I can't remember what it is. It's OHS something. So I have a slide here. This one right here has a link straight to it.
Is that your own?
This is the
And then
school's,
click
but
on that.
mine's more open than what a lot
Oh,
of people.
okay.
No, yeah, I have a tiny URL to it, but I don't remember what it was. It might be just OHS post it. Go ahead and click on the link. No, mine was already on there.
The school's Wi-Fi, is that what you mean?
Yep. Jane?
It's RSD_MB_0.
I might have to email it to you. I'm trying to think of another way.
Yeah, let me get the picture first.
Let's see if you typed it correctly. So go back to where you typed it. That tiny URL thing. It's showing.
This one?
Well, it's not it, but it started to show it.
Oh, okay.
I saw it and then it. .com.
Atoma Draw.
No, I'm wanting this one, Atoma Google 21C.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, I'm going to have to email a link or something. I don't know. That's it.
Oh, good deal.
So the one we're on is right here on slide 5. And then that's my post-it. And I'll make this easier for the next group. I just need to work on that.